Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jeroen de Wit. I am a level 3 Quantum Healing Hypnosis technique practitioner, trained by Dolores Cannon back in 2006 and merrily regressing people ever since. On my channel, I always share experiences of what clients have had during their sessions, and particularly the ones that are, of course, interesting to a larger audience. I always like sharing about clients going into different worlds other than the one that we know already exists, and sharing experiences. So these messages are what I consider from dimensions that vibrate at a higher level than the one that we know right now. So let's get into it. I am a very lucky bitch because not only did I have a week full of wonderful clients that connected to different levels of existence. Let's see what we had this week. We had a woman who saw herself as a reptilian being from the draconian system, but she was a renegade reptilian. She was not one of the bad guys, but she had, she knew that as a man, as a male reptilian, she was caring and she wanted to help the world. So we found her back in the Middle Ages, working for church, and she had this extensive knowledge of sound and how sound could heal. She said she could pinpoint coordinates within the multidimensional field structure of a person and sounds into it that would help them release or heal. This information was brought forward for this woman in her current lifetime to know how she was going to be healing people with sound. It's amazing. Then we had another woman who found out she had been part of the hybrid program, the alien hybrid program. During her session, she was on a spaceship and eggs were being harvested. So at first it sounded like, she was kind of in it wasn't consensual, but then we found out later that she is from a descendant of a race of star beings, and that part of her reason of incarnating onto the planet today is to provide these beings with her eggs so they can learn about human reproduction and to continue their own race, because they had come to a dead end with the way they were in their different realm. Another experience was a woman who went to a pink planet where beings look like, I don't know, they look like something from the Muppet Show to me. They were like little pink beings, and they were just filled with joy. And this joy was a very important component for my client to experience during her session, because it was a big component of what her life was going to be about, being a human being on a planet, but channeling this existence from this other planet in order to bring forth joy on the planet. So all of these people that I met with, they were all part of alien races, being here on the planet to pull in the vibrations and knowledge from these different races to help raise the frequency of the planet right now, today. So today was no different. What was different is that the woman that sat in front of me, she was very, very young. She's 18 years old. And for me personally, it was very moving to see this young woman not having the level of self-doubt about who she is, to the degree that I experienced myself way back in the 70s when I was young. I was very much conditioned to take the voices of the world, of the way things are done on the planet, in the limited bandwidth of thinking, to take them as my truth. And it's very different from who I experienced myself to be. But this young woman, she had such access to her inner knowing. There was very little doubt about who she is here to be. She has access to different dimensions, sees into different dimensions, communicates with beings from different dimensions, and there was some need for confirmation or affirmation, but it was just really satisfying for me to watch this young person with such presence and power, who they are, taking that as a point of reference about their truth about life, instead of trying to trust the limited thinking that's present on the planet. So aside from that, it was just, yeah, that was just really wonderful for me to experience from a personal level. But what happened during her session, she was taken to a life where she was a king and ruled with his wife and children, but ruled the land from a very loving outlook. Is that how you say it? From a very loving predisposition. However, the other members of the governing body that was part of the government, they were more traditional and didn't allow him to express so much of it, but he would find places in his personal interactions with people to bring in more light, more love. So what we do is we just explored the scene, and we found him sitting at the dinner table, described what his wife looked like and how he felt towards his family. We explored a bit about, how he rules his country or whatever plot of land, was involved with the people on it. And then we move people forward to an important day. So this important day, he explained that he was giving away his daughter in marriage to this foreign ruler's son. Let's see, the daughter was very happy because this person was very good on the inside. It was very loving being person. And I happened to ask, like, how did you travel? Because I was still trying to get my bearings as into what time could this be in. And my client said, well, it feels like it's faster than like horse or boat. And I said, well, just see it. What does it look like? How did you travel here? And she sees this sort of stone cube, she called it, and it would fly. And, of course, my curiosity was piqued. And I asked her to describe what the procedure was. How do you, where do you park this cube and how do you fly it? And she explained that it was part of the place where she lived. It sounded like a castle, although she didn't use that word. She would have to go down in the basement and then walk quite a bit, and then there would be a space where it was already powered up. It would be levitating because the ones that provide her with this vehicle already knew about the intention and would just take care of it. She explained that she was in communion with these beings that would take care of that, and that not everyone in his household could fly this cube because they weren't at the right disposition. But it sounded like you had to be more heart-centered, more caring and giving in that way. So when she mentioned these beings, I asked, like, how do you connect with them? And he said that when I say he, I mean the past life personality of my female client that was on this table here. He said that he would have to get quiet and then tune in. And so I was curious about these beings and asked him, can you do this right now? Can you connect with them? And he says, yes. So I go, well, go ahead. Let me know when the connection is made. So a few seconds passed, and then she goes, yes, the connection is here. So then I got to talk to these beings, and what I found out is that I was talking to Andromedans. They described themselves as tall, sort of lanky beings with a bigger skull, blue skin tone, big dark eyes with like darker but different colors in it, very loving predisposition. But they explained that they had been on planet Earth a long time ago, and that their teachings had been misconstrued or garbled or perverted, and they were here to set things straight. And how they were here on the planet now was through my client. So she's part of this group of beings, Andromedans, and she's here on the planet to help raise the frequency on the planet. But this is how they're coming in right now to help, and that there's more of them. And maybe you've listened to other session descriptions or other QHHT practitioners, and you're aware that there's different alien races that are incarnate within human bodies on the planet. I am one of them. And most of us, by the way, have alien experiences. We don't always have the lives where we are, where we can access this information, but many of you watching might know that you're a part from another galaxy, or that part of your experiences that you're connecting with is from a different galaxy. So anyway, back to my client and the Andromedans. They had been on the planet and had been teaching about connecting to Mother Earth, to love, to the animals, to nature, to life, and that their teachings had been misconstrued in religion, and that they were here to set things straight through incarnating through people that are present on the planet right now. My client in this current lifetime had been diagnosed with HDAD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or I think now it's called ADD. And this diagnosis, this labeling, we can take this on as there's something wrong with me, we don't fit in. So during her session, it was made loud and clear that her brain is just more advanced, so it doesn't fit within the limitations of education that we have been experiencing on the planet, that our educational systems are very, very limited, that they only provide a very narrow bandwidth of information, and the way that things are being taught is very, very limited as well. It's just one way of puking this information out over a whole class of people, where there's different individuals that learn in many different ways. And in her case, what we call HDHD, is just a brain that is very advanced, that processes more all at once, and that needs to learn things in a different way and needs to be stimulated in different ways. So a big part of this session was for her to reframe the places where she was conditioned to make herself, or parts of herself, not good enough, but that they were really very much on purpose, part of why she incarnated on the planet, that her purpose forward is to be a leader and to help people to realize that they are unique expressions of source on the planet, and to find self-love and to connect back to the earth and back to nature, because this is our true nature. This is where we come from. We're not disconnected. We've been disconnected through our thinking or the externalization that has been part of this cycle of ego mind or thinking mind that we've been in for the last millennia. I'm not sure how long. But it's now time to reconnect to our heart, to the earth, to life. And that the way that she's going to do this is through different projects. That's why her brain is so quick, and she's to create different projects, not just one job or one profession or one thing, but many, many different ways. And that's why her brain works so fast and so versatile. That's the word that they used. It was interesting that the life that she was shown, where she was the king, she had some children, they were her parents from her current lifetime, so they switched roles. She was wondering if the visions that she sees when she's in contact with water, she sees other beings sort of present in the air or just around her, and she was wondering, am I a little crazy or what is this? And so she was told that she sees into different dimensions, and what she sees is observers. There is observing observers from different galactic races that are observing her because she's of interest to them, because she sees into different dimensions, and they're learning from her experiences here. The woman always had a strong affinity to the image of Krishna, is one of the gods in Hinduism, and this god, I don't know if you know, is blue. And so Krishna is one of the Andromedans that came onto the planet. They explained that when they came here, they kind of freaked people out because they were very tall. I don't know how many feet. She said they were maybe 9 feet or something, but people kind of freaked out when they saw them. But Krishna, I think, was of a taller stature than regular humans as well, and had blue skin, was an Andromedan being. And the other teachers that were part of this Andromedan thinking was Jesus as well. Oh, this is very wonderful to hear. This is what's been coming through in, well, actually all of my sessions of last week, over and over again, is that the way it was phrased in this session is that our future, everything is golden, meaning that the switch has already happened, that there's more light than darkness on the planet right now, that we're going towards a more heart-centered existence, but that the timeline that we're on right now is there's still upheaval, still some difficulties ahead where the negativity gets cleared. What was explained to me yesterday, I think it was, in a session, is that I asked about these timelines that we're on right now, if the timeline can be moved so that we would have a smoother birthing into this new way of being. And what was explained that it is possible, but that right now the people on the planet still are too attached to catastrophe or difficulties or challenges through ways of being motivated by fear. And what was explained is that if we were to be less motivated by fear or have less fear, then if a large amount of people would switch into this fearless existence, that the timelines could be modified. And I asked how that could be done, and sort of the blanket statement was given for everybody to meditate more, to connect with source inside of you, because that is fear reducing, as you can imagine. But yeah, that we're going in the right direction, that we're going to a place or a way of being where life is lived from the heart, and we're in a place of loving towards life. Yeah, the Andromedans, very interesting. I don't think I'd ever directly talked to Andromedans. Oh, by the way, when we were talking after the session, I did a quick Google of Andromedans and see what kind of images would come forward. And so one of them was this one. I don't know if you can see, but when I showed her this, she said, "Oh my God, this is exactly what they look like." And she was not somebody who had done a lot of research or was very interested in the subject matter, but this resembled what she saw in her session. So that was really cool. All right, so Andromedans today. I hope you enjoyed me sharing this information. And this was Jeroen de Wit reporting from QHHT land. All the best.